My name is Emma. I used to love a phone game. I played it all the time. I played in the morning, before work. I played at lunch. I played again in bed, before sleep. I told myself, just 10 more minutes. But 10 minutes always became 1 hour. The game made me feel smart and strong. When I won, I smiled. When I lost, I told myself, next time I'll win. I liked the colors, the sounds, the lights. It felt like another world. In that world, I was brave and powerful. In real life, I was just tired. My mum used to call me at night. I often said, "Sorry, Mum, I'm busy." She asked, "Busy with what?" I said, "Work." But that was not true. I was busy fighting monsters on my phone. My best friend Lisa sent me texts. "Let's go for coffee," she wrote. "Maybe next week," I answered. But next week never came. Sometimes I sat alone in my room for hours. The game made me forget time. My dinner got cold, my eyes hurt, my neck hurt. But I didn't stop. The world in the screen was louder, faster, brighter than my own. One night I stayed up until 3 a.m. My room was dark, except for the light from my phone. My head felt heavy, but my fingers kept moving. I wanted one more level. I thought if I win this time, I'll sleep happy. But I lost. Again. I stared at the screen. I pressed try again. I lost again. I pressed again. My chest felt tight. I was angry, but I couldn't stop. When I finally looked away, the sky outside was gray. Morning had come. I hadn't slept. My hands were shaking. I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. I almost didn't know the girl I saw. Her eyes were red. Her skin looked pale. Her hair was messy. "Is that me?" I whispered. I turned on the light and looked again. Yes, it was me. The girl who once loved drawing, music, and walks in the park. Now she only loved her phone. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. It was small and sad. Later that day at work, my boss asked me, "Emma, are you okay?" "You look tired," I said. "I'm fine." But I wasn't fine. I felt empty inside. Even when I won the game, I didn't feel joy anymore. It was just numbers and noise. That night, I came home, sat on my bed, and opened the game again. My heart didn't race like before. My fingers moved, but my mind felt far away. Why am I still doing this? I asked myself. No answer came. Only silence. The sound of the game felt too loud now, too empty. I looked around my room. The walls were bare. My sketchbook sat in the corner, covered with dust. I hadn't touched it for months. I picked it up and flipped through the old pages. There were drawings of flowers, cats, and people I loved. I smiled for a second. Then my phone buzzed again. "Your daily reward is ready," the game said. I stared at the message. My hand wanted to tap it. My heart didn't. I turned off the phone and put it face down on the table. The room was quiet again. I took a deep breath. For a moment I felt peace, but also fear. What if I can't stop? That night, I lay in bed, staring at the dark ceiling. The sound of the game still echoed in my mind. I whispered to myself, maybe tomorrow I'll try one day without it. I didn't believe it then, but that small thought changed everything. The next night I played again. I told myself, just one game. But one game became 10. My dinner was cold again. My phone felt hot in my hand. My eyes were dry, but I didn't blink. I wanted to win so badly. Then something strange happened. I lost one important match. I shouted, "No!" My voice was loud in my small room. I threw my phone on the bed. My heart was beating fast. I could feel it in my chest. My hands were shaking. I sat still for a moment. I could hear my breathing, quick and rough. The room was dark. My screen still glowed. I saw my character die again. I wanted to cry, but no tears came. I just felt tired. Then my phone rang. It was Lisa. I didn't want to answer, but I did. "Hey," I said, my voice low. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I lost again," I said. "It's just a game, Emma," she said softly. I stayed quiet. Lisa's voice was calm. "You sound different. When was the last time you went outside?" I tried to remember. "Maybe last week." She laughed a little. "No, that was last month. I remember because you said you'd come to my birthday and you didn't." "Oh," I said. My chest hurt. "I'm sorry." "It's okay," she said. "I just miss you. You don't answer calls. You don't go out. I feel like you disappeared." Her words hit me hard. I didn't know what to say. For a moment I wanted to hang up, but instead I whispered, "I think I disappeared too." Lisa was silent for a few seconds. Then she said, "Emma, maybe it's time to take a break from that game." "I can't," I said quickly. "Why not?" she asked. "I don't know. It makes me happy." "Does it really?" she asked again, softly this time. Her question sat in my mind like a stone. I didn't answer. I just looked at my phone screen. My game character was still there, waiting. But I didn't feel happy, not at all. After the call, I sat in my room for a long time. The screen light faded. The silence grew louder. I thought about Lisa's words. "You disappeared." She was right. I remembered when we used to go to the park, drink iced coffee, laugh at silly things. I remembered how the sun felt warm on my skin, how the wind moved my hair. I hadn't felt that in so long. Now my world was small, a phone, a bed, a game. I didn't even know what day it was. I picked up my phone again. My finger touched the game icon, but I didn't open it. I just looked at it. The colors used to make me excited. Now they looked empty. I turned the phone off and put it away. The room was dark, but it felt real. I could hear the sound of cars outside. A dog barked. Someone laughed far away. The world was still there. I just hadn't looked at it for a while. I lay on my bed and closed my eyes. My heart was still heavy. But somewhere deep inside, a small voice said, "You can stop." I didn't believe it yet, but that voice didn't go away. The next morning I woke up early. My head still hurt from all the late nights. I made coffee and sat by the window. The sky was pale blue. The world looked quiet, calm. I looked at my phone again. It was still off. I smiled a little. It was a weak smile, but it was real. Maybe Lisa was right. Maybe I could take one small step back to the real world. I didn't know then, but that was the last night I ever played that game. The next morning, I woke up early. Sunlight came through the window. The air felt cool and soft. I made myself a cup of tea and looked at my phone. It was still off. For a minute, I thought, maybe I should check it. Then I remembered Lisa's words. "You disappeared." I took a deep breath and whispered, "Not today." I put the phone in my drawer and left it there. It was quiet. Too quiet. I didn't know what to do with my hands. I walked around the room. I looked at my books, my drawings, my plants. Everything looked a little dusty, like they were waiting for me to come back. I put on my sneakers and went outside. The sky was blue, with a few white clouds. The world felt bigger than I remembered. I walked to the park near my house. I used to go there all the time, before the game. The park was full of life. A little boy ran after a ball. An old man fed pigeons. 2 girls took selfies under a tree. A dog barked and wagged its tail. I sat on a bench and just watched. The sound of the wind in the trees felt new. I hadn't listened to it for a long time. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. The air smelled like grass and sunshine. A woman sat next to me with a baby. The baby looked at me and smiled. I smiled back. "Beautiful day," the woman said. "Yes," I said. "It is." Her baby laughed, a small happy sound. It made me laugh too. I walked around for an hour. I saw the world I had forgotten. I saw colors that no screen could make. Green leaves, pink flowers, golden light. I didn't need to win anything. I didn't need points or levels. Just being there felt good. When I got home, I made lunch. Real lunch, not instant noodles. I played some music and opened the window. The wind moved the curtain. My heart felt light. I sat at my desk and opened my old sketchbook again. The first pages were full of color. Then they stopped halfway, blank and white. I took a pencil and started drawing. Slowly, softly. My hand shook at first, but then it felt natural. I drew a tree from the park. I drew the baby's smile. When I finished, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. I wasn't excited like in the game. I wasn't running or fighting. I was just here. That was enough. In the evening, I looked at the drawer where my phone was. I didn't want it. I didn't need it. I lit a candle and sat by the window again. The city lights sparkled outside. Somewhere, people were laughing. Somewhere, someone was playing a game. But I was quiet. And for the first time in months, I wasn't lonely. Before bed, I wrote in my notebook. Day 1. No game. Still alive. Still okay. Then I turned off the light. My room was dark, but my heart was calm. I thought, maybe I can do this again tomorrow. And for the first time in a long time, I fell asleep with a smile. A week passed. I hadn't played the game once. Every morning I still woke up early. The sunlight always touched my face first. It felt warm, like a small hello from the world. Lisa texted me one day. "Coffee this weekend," she wrote. I smiled. I hadn't met her in months. "Yes," I replied, "I'd love to." On Saturday I wore a yellow shirt. It had been a long time since I cared about what I wore. I met Lisa at a small cafe near the park. She waved when she saw me. "Wow," she said, smiling. "You look alive again." I laughed. "I feel alive again." We talked for hours. About work, about her cat, about funny people at the gym. I told her about my week without the game. "That's amazing," she said. "You're really doing it." "It's not easy," I said. "Sometimes I still think about it. My hands want to grab the phone." Lisa nodded. "That's okay. Habits take time, but you're doing great." Before we left, she said, "Come try yoga with me. It helps me relax." I hesitated. "Yoga? I'm not flexible." She laughed. "That's why you go." The next day I joined her class. At first I felt strange. Everyone was quiet and calm. I couldn't stop thinking about my phone. I wanted to check it, but I didn't bring it. The teacher said, "Breathe in, breathe out." I did. Slowly. My mind started to quiet. My body moved gently. The room was peaceful. After class, Lisa looked at me. "How do you feel?" I smiled. Like I can finally hear myself think. Days turned into weeks. I began to like yoga. I also started painting again. At first my drawings were simple, flowers, cups, clouds. Then I added color, blue, green, yellow. Each stroke felt like a breath. My small apartment began to change too. I put my paintings on the wall. I bought a small plant. I opened the window more often. Music played softly every evening. Sometimes I caught myself thinking, I could play just one game. But then I looked around. The real world felt better. The smell of paint, the sound of rain, the laughter from neighbors. All of it was real. None of it needed a screen. Lisa came over one night. She looked at my paintings. "These are beautiful," she said. "Thank you," I said. I didn't know I still had it in me. She smiled. "You didn't lose it. You just forgot for a while." Her words stayed in my heart. Maybe she was right. I hadn't lost myself. I had only been quiet too long. That night, I painted a picture of a girl standing under a tree. She held a small light in her hand. The light was soft, but it was enough to see her smile. When I finished, I wrote on the corner, "Finding my way back." I looked at it for a long time. The girl in the painting looked happy. Maybe she was me. Before sleeping, I opened my notebook and wrote, Day 21. No game. I found something better. Then I turned off the lights and whispered, "Thank you," to the world, to Lisa, and to myself. One quiet Sunday morning, I woke up early again. The sky outside was pink and gold. Birds were singing on the window ledge. I stretched, smiled, and made some tea. On my desk, my phone was still there. It looked small and quiet, not powerful like before. I hadn't opened that game in more than a month. But that morning, I touched the screen again. The game icon was still there, bright and colorful, waiting. For a moment, I felt that old pull. My finger hovered above it. Then I stopped. I looked around my room instead. There were paintings on my wall. My plants had grown. My window was open, and the air smelled like rain. I whispered, "I don't need this anymore." I pressed the screen one last time, not to play, but to delete the game. A small message popped up. "Are you sure?" I smiled. "Yes, I'm sure." And I pressed delete. The icon disappeared. Just like that. I waited for a strange feeling, for sadness, fear, or emptiness. But nothing came. Instead, I felt light, free. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Lisa. "Lisa, game night at my place tonight." I laughed. Me. "Sure, but let's play something real this time." Lisa. "Deal. I'll make popcorn." That evening I went to her apartment. She had cards, snacks, and music. We sat on the floor and played for hours. We laughed when we lost. We laughed even more when we won. There was no level, no score, no prize. Just laughter and friendship. At one point, Lisa said, "I'm proud of you." "Why?" I asked. "You stopped." "You came back." I smiled. "Yeah, I guess I did." On my way home, the night air was cool. The city lights were bright, but not too bright. I walked slowly, enjoying the sound of my own footsteps. I passed by the park where I once sat under a tree. The same tree was still there. I touched its bark and whispered, "I'm here again." When I reached home, I turned off my phone and sat by the window. The moon was high. The world was calm. I took out my notebook and wrote, Day 40, no game. I'm not running away anymore. Then I drew a small heart next to the words. Before bed, I looked at my last painting. The girl under the tree, holding a light. Her eyes were bright. Her smile was soft. I realized something. That light wasn't from the phone. It was from inside her. Maybe that's what I had been looking for all along. Not the next win. Not the next level. Just a quiet life that feels real. I turned off the lamp. My room went dark, but my heart was full. I whispered, "Goodbye, my game." And this time it didn't hurt. I fell asleep smiling. I had finally won.